Hi everyone. Welcome to another Philosophy of Freedom study course video. This is step number 52, the thinking contemplation of thought. In the last video, we compared thinking contemplation with the everyday state. In the everyday state, we observe the table and have thoughts about it at the same time. Thinking contemplation is different. In thinking contemplation, we direct our full attention on the table so we forget about our thoughts. We fully immerse ourselves in the table so we learn new things about the table. When we practice thinking contemplation, we discipline the mind. An unsupervised mind wanders in idle thought chains and fear-based thoughts. This is a good example of how applying the steps to freedom will discipline the mind and improve your life. The next step is to apply the same thinking contemplation to thought. This is how we think about thinking. When we direct our attention within to observe thought, we enter the exceptional state. The exceptional state is an inner place where we go to observe thought. The idealist is interested in the world of ideas, so a lot of time is spent in the exceptional state to think about ideas. Entering the exceptional state is a very important part of the philosophy of freedom. It is from within the exceptional state of mind that we experience intuitive insight. We have all experienced the importance of intuitive insight. The problem is, we may not experience intuitive insight as often as we need it. The Steps to Freedom is a path to increase those moments of intuitive insight. It is not enough to read the Philosophy of Freedom. We also need to apply what we learn. When thinking intuition is developed, it gives us a living answer to the questions we need answered. The answers we receive are always new and will be given as often as we need one. Equipped with the clarity of knowledge we received from thinking intuition, we can journey further into the depths and more broadly into the expanse of the adventure of life. The first thing to learn about the contemplation of thought is that we cannot contemplate our present thought. Deep in contemplation, the idealist mystic becomes completely absorbed in the study of ideas. Only after creating thought do I then confront these thoughts in contemplation. I recall my thoughts afterward and then contemplate what is now past thought. As we have discussed, it is only in the everyday state where we notice present thoughts in the background. This is not contemplation. The materialist mystic never enters the exceptional state to study his thinking processes. This results in remaining naive and easily fooled by what others tell them. They are also unaware of their own cognitive bias. If I want to contemplate my present thought, I would have to split myself into two persons. One to produce thoughts by contemplating the table, and the other to contemplate these newly created thoughts. This I cannot do. I can only accomplish it in two separate acts. The thought to be observed is never the present thought actively being produced. To think about thinking, we reflect on our past thought. We use the same two-act method of creating thought and then contemplating thought, whether we contemplate our own earlier thoughts or the thoughts of another. When we study the philosophy of freedom, we form thoughts, and then we reflect on those thoughts. It is the same when we create an imaginary thought process. In playing pool, we form thoughts about our situation, and then imagine how to make the shot. Stephen Hawking developed a special talent for imaginative thought. Unable to use pencil and paper due to being paralyzed, he imagined complex equations in his head and then thought about them. These were difficult equations, numbers, and symbols that describe concepts like radiating black holes, gravitational collapse, and quantum cosmology. He developed a very powerful ability to contemplate physics in his head that nobody else had. Many consider Hawking a genius for his contributions to theoretical physics and the science of cosmology. Stephen Hawking was committed to disciplining his thinking so he could contribute to advancing world progress. In the Steps to Freedom study course, we discuss simple things that when applied can make a big difference in your life. There are two things that do not go together: productive activity and confronting this activity in contemplation. It is not possible to create and contemplate at the same time. This is recognized even in the Old Testament mythology. In the first 6 days, God created the world, and only after the world is there is it possible to contemplate it.
In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. God saw all that he had made, and it was very good.
This creation story applies to our thinking. We must create it before we can see it. This is our challenge for Step 52. We will practice the 2-act method of contemplation, become fully immersed in the contemplation of an outer object to create thought. Then direct the attention within and recall this thought to the mind. Now begin your thinking contemplation of the thought. What do we see when we contemplate our thought? This will be the topic of the next Step to Freedom, Step 53, called Knowing Thought Directly. See you soon in the next video.